In this video, I'm going to give a quick introduction to HTML. I'll share the simple idea that an engineer had in 1989 that gave birth to HTML, browsers, the web, basically changed the world as we know it. This is the first in a series of videos where I'll be teaching you the foundations of HTML. So whether you're looking to start a career as a web developer or just looking to advance your skills, you're in the right place. Let's get to it. HTML, Hypertext Markup Language, is one of three languages that make up the web pages you see and interact with. It's often compared to the framing of a building. CSS, the next language, is like the interior decorating, and JavaScript, the things in the house that respond to your actions, like turning the lights on or off. I want to focus on that last word, language, for a moment. In every part of the world, people have languages they use to communicate. And speaking is just one of the ways of communicating. There's also sight and touch. Think about this. Communication happens when one person sends a message through sound, sight, or touch and is received by another person. HTML is like a language used between two parties. The server, that's the term for the computer used by the owner of the website, and viewed by the client. That's your browser on your computer or device. HTML is the means that the website owner and you can communicate. Learning HTML allows you to create communication between these two parties. Let's start at what a simple HTML document looks like. This example is from W3 Schools, the largest web developer site on the internet. On the left side is the code that makes up the HTML document, and on the right is how it would be understood and presented in a browser. You can make a change in the code, click run, and see it update on the right. You'll notice that we've got lots of text that's surrounded by these angle brackets. The whole thing is an HTML element. When we read a document, we typically start at the beginning of the page and read down. Browsers look for the most important pieces of information, then fill in the rest. And the HTML elements define the important pieces of information on a web page. The first thing we'll see is that doc-type HTML element. That tells the browser this is an HTML5 document. Next is the HTML element. This is often called the root element because it's the foundation. It says to the browser, hey, this is an HTML document, so treat it like one. Next comes the head element, which identifies the intro section of the document. All of the key information about the document should go in the head. The rest of the details make their way into the body. Search engines scan the document to see what's in the head and what's in the body, and try to then present it to a person who's looking for that information. HTML elements make up the page structure. You've got the HTML element that defines the entire doc. The head and body elements rest on top of that. In future videos, we'll fill in more pieces that make up an HTML page. Every modern browser is able to read HTML documents that follow 5th generation standards, and that's what the 5 is in the center of the icon. So let's get back to that big idea I promised at the start of the video. Tim Berners-Lee was an engineer working at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. He noticed that people from all over the world were bringing in their research documents. The problem was that these documents were formatted differently. So there was all this information that was locked away and not able to be shared, stifling creativity. His idea was that everyone would format their documents the same way. That idea gave birth to HTML. We could then create software applications that could read those documents, and that gave birth to browsers. And we could link these documents together and allow everyone to share their information with everyone else, which gave birth to the World Wide Web. What Sir Tim Berners-Lee noticed, as he's recognized now, having been knighted for being the inventor of the World Wide Web, was that locked away information was the problem. Formatted documents were just the solution. So while we'll learn a lot about how to format documents properly, that isn't really the goal. The goal of this new technology at the time and still today is to communicate, to share, to connect. We'll learn all the details of how to make that happen throughout this series. I hope you'll join me.